The next step in creating our rubber band car is going to be creating the wheels for this. So we're going to create two separate sets of wheels. The front wheels are going to be smoother, and the back wheels are going to have almost look like gears. They're going to have little teeth on them. That way they can grip the carpet when they run. If they're too smooth of wheels, there's not enough friction, I guess, to grab the floor to actually make it go forward. So I have handouts for both of these, and we're going to do the smooth wheel first. So we're going to create two separate videos, and we're going to upload them as separate files also. In Schoology, we have a couple drawings here. So we have the front wheel drawing like this, which shows us just the wheel, and this is an extruded cut. And we also have the axle drawing. So we're going to build both of these on one file, one part file, and then we're going to save that as an STL, and then we're actually going to create the other part, which are going to be the back wheels, are going to be, like I said, this spiky type. Now these technical drawings, these are going to be in the inches format. So as we draw these out, I'm going to be referring to these. I may even bounce back and forth on here just to show you where I'm looking on how we can read a drawing to create a part from scratch. Let's start with the actual, just the wheel itself, like this, okay, with a little cut, a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch cut. Okay, this should be a pretty straightforward project for us to do. So it's going to be 1.5 inches diameter. It's going to be a 1/4 inch thick, and then this hole here is going to be a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch, but that extruded cut is going to be 0.15. So let's draw that one real quick. That'll be easy. Okay, let's create a new part. And once it loads, all right, we're already in a sketch. This is something that's becoming a little frustrating for us. Let's exit the sketch, and let's draw a new one. So let's go to our circle tool. I'm going to say, we can work on the front plane, or you can work on the top plane. Doesn't particularly matter, but I'm going to click front plane, and I'm going to just simply draw one circle here. Okay? We need to make this, according to the drawing, let's go back, 1.5 inch diameter. That's what this means, all the way across. So when you draw it, it's in a radius format, but let's do our smart dimension. We click on the edge here, and we drag out. And this needs to be 1.5. Beautiful. I'm going to click the green check here, or the arrow I should say. I'm going to do something else at this point right now. We're actually going to duplicate this before we expand it out and we do an extruded boss on it. So if I were to just simply, let's go back into our sketch. I'm going to right click over here. I'm going to go to edit sketch. And on my keyboard, I'm going to hold down the control button, CTRL. I'm going to push, while I'm holding it down, push the C. That's our copy function. And I'm going to hold down control again, and I'm going to hit V. And that's going to be our paste function. Let me try that again. Select it. Let's try this again. C, V. There we go. I didn't have it clicked the first time. And I'm going to drag this over. So we have two sketches right here. We are going to extrude those both up. Let's go back to the drawing. We're going to make those 1/4 inch thick of an extruded boss. So while I have these both selected, let's go to features. Let's do extruded boss. And you see I have both of them here selected. So it's going to make them both the same feature. Okay, so this is going to be 0.25. If you don't have them both selected, you can just simply click on them. That's fine too. But once I did 0.25 on the left, I hit the green check. There we go. Let's hit it again. And now we have both of our wheels. One of them is going to have an axle coming out of the middle of it, and the other one is going to have a hole in it. Let's do the hole first, but let's go normal too. Let me show you this. This is something we should be working with quite a bit more. So you can see I'm at an angle, right? And there's two ways we can do this. We're not working on the front plane, so I can right click and I can click where it says normal to. See, now it's flat again. Or one of my neat little features here that I actually prefer to use is if I hit the space bar on my computer and then I can select a face, I can do it that way too. Okay? Either right click on front plane and hit normal to, or hit the space bar. Let's put this little tiny square right in the middle of this guy, and that square is going to be 1/4 of an inch by 1/4 of the inch. It's going to be perfectly centered, and then it's going to have an extruded cut that's 0.15. So let's do this one right here first. Let's go to sketch. Something I'm going to use that's a little bit different. We've been typically using the corner rectangle. I, in fact, am going to use what's called a center rectangle. So what's going to happen is it's going to say which plane. I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to put it here on this plane. Okay? And I can draw on here, and it's going to draw it out the center. Something I should have done, though, is I could use a center line, or I could go back into the sketch and I could use the center point of the circle. So I have that drawn. Let me delete it. Let's do it this way. Get your center line. Okay, let's find the top, which is, where was it? It was there. There it is. Okay, I'm going to come down. I see it. You see that center line in the middle there? There it is there. I can draw across here, and I have a little crosshair. Hey, while we're at it, let's do it on this one too. Let's see if it'll let me find it. Great. Let's go ahead and just find the middle points with the center line. The center line are just reference points, as we should know by now. They don't actually exist on the parts. Something else that you should know. These are for construction, meaning they don't exist on the part. But if I were to uncheck this box, it turns that center line. If you watch the right horizontal line, I'm going to click it again, and it becomes dashed. I click it again, and it becomes solid. That's now a regular line. So we could have drawn this as a regular line, in fact, and we can change it for construction. We're not going to do that. How are we doing so far? Hopefully good. Let's draw that center square right now. So I have the center rectangle. Let's make sure we have it selected. We're not doing the corner rectangle, because now I can use that center point right there to draw this thing out. And I can resize it, but my anchor is going to be in the middle now as opposed to a corner. We have it drawn. Let's go to Smart Dimension. Let's drag up the top. And this is going to be 0.25. Great. And this one right here, let's drag this out. And whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Let me hit escape again because I clicked on the line there. All right, so let's try that again. 0.25. So we have 0.25 in both directions. There it is. This is going to be an extruded cut. According to our drawing, it is a, whoops. There it is. It is a cut that is 0.15 deep. You see that here? This drawing shows us how deep it is. So we're going to do an extruded cut, features, cut. Okay, and now we're doing blind. If I rotate a little bit by holding down the middle, holding down the scroll wheel, not rolling it zooms in and out. Holding it down, I can rotate. You can see that indeed the arrow is cutting this direction, but it's 0.25, which is how thick this whole thing is. I need to make it 0.15. And then I click the green check, and voila. So there's a little tiny rectangular peg, square-ish peg, hole that the axle is going to connect into when we put it through the body of the car. So there is one step done. Fantastic. We now are going to build our axle out of this and put a little tiny cube on top that's going to snap into there. It's going to fit pretty tight. So let me go back to Schoology, and let's look at, so this is what we just drew. Let me go back into Schoology here, and let's find the front axle drawing, which is here. And you have these as front and back printouts if you'd like to use those. Okay, so we already have this wheel, this sketch drawn, okay? But now I need to draw a cylinder, an axle that looks like it's going to be in the middle of that wheel. It's going to be 0.44 inches diameter, and then we're putting a 0.25 cube on top. So that was the same size as the hole. So that way we can snap it in and it'll fit snug. And it is 3.1 tall before we put this cube on top. So we're going to build this cylinder next. So let's recap. We're going to be in the middle. It's going to be 0.44 in diameter, and we're growing it up 3.1 with an extruded boss. Let's go back to our sketch. Let's pick our circle tool. It's going to say, hey, what base are you, or plane or face are you drawing on? And I'm going to say, I'm doing it on this one today. Okay. Let's see if we can find that middle. Look, if I hover over to the corners, there's my middle. Okay. I'm going to draw this out from the center point. There it is. Now, again, we're doing radius here. It's 0.44 diameter, so it would be around 0.22. But I don't want us to rely completely on this. I want to do smart dimension to make sure we are perfect. So we have that drawn. It doesn't really matter what the size is at this point because we're going to change it right here. So our axle is going to be, with our smart dimension, 0.44. Bingo. We now need to put an extruded boss on that. So we have it selected. And our extruded boss, just to remind you, going back and forth, is 3.1. So let's go back here. We're going to go to Features, Extruded Boss, and this guy is going to be 3.1. 3.1. Okay, if I click on, let's see here, the green check, it should grow it up. There it is. Okay, it's not finalized yet. We're still sort of in edit mode until we hit this green check again. Bingo. We're getting there. Now we need to put that little cube on top. Recap there. The extruded boss height is going to be 0.15, but that cube is 0.25. 0.25 by 0.15 tall. So we're going to use that same tool that we used before, which is going to be the center rectangle. Make sure it's center rectangle, not a corner rectangle. Let's click on it. It says, what face, edge, plane are you putting it on? And I'm going to click, make sure we click right on this top one. It's going to rotate us to it. Wonderful. I can zoom in. Let's roll around the edges here and find that point where, here, let's point to this one. Let's see if we can find that center point of this. We might need to draw center lines on this. Sometimes it'll show up. Oh. There it is. Did you see how I did that? I found, it's hard, might be hard to see on your iPad. If I hover over and find one of these 90-degree points, okay, and I draw a line, I just kind of trace over it. I'm not clicking, I'm just moving my mouse. Then it goes, shows up in the middle. Corner, rectangle here. Go ahead and draw that, and we're going to smart dimension that. Okay, it's going to be 0.25. Boom. And this one's going to be 0.25. Boom. And so now it's just a sketch right now, right? It's flat. I'm trying to rotate it so you can see. We need to extruded boss to grow that thing up. Features, extruded boss, and that guy, whoa, that's way too tall. We're going to be 0.15 tall. I believe that's it. I think so. Let me go back to my drawing here. Yeah, 0.15 tall. If you made a mistake on that, we can always edit the, so here's the, let me show you this. This is something we should learn in an earlier lesson. I can right click and I can edit the sketch at any point, which means it'll edit the flat drawing here, edit the sketch. Okay, so any changes that I make in here will also edit part of the feature, which means the extruded boss. So if I were to make this smaller, I don't have to start all over. If I resize this width and height here, then it'll resize it, but it'll still extrude up 0.15. So I'm not going to change that. But if I wanted to change how high it extrudes, I need to edit the feature, not the sketch. The sketch is the flat drawing, the size. And then if I edit the feature on this right here, then I can go back to here and I can edit my actual feature, which is this. Cool. Okay. We're all good though. This is wonderful. So we have our wheel, our smooth wheel. This is going to be for the front. Now, I need a way to know that this belongs to you. So what we are going to do now is we are going to go to Sketch. We're going to click on the font tool, the text tool, and on the bottom of this, here and here, on the bottom of these, I need for you to type in your initials. So mine are MJH. Okay? And yeah, it's over here. I can hit the check here, done typing it, and then I can actually drag this little dot. And what's super annoying is I got to kind of play with this and move this at a time. It doesn't actually drag when I move it. But we need to do a small extruded cut in here. Don't do an extruded boss. And the reason you can't do a boss, well, you can, but the reason why it's not going to work out super well is because, let me finish this. Because if you do an extruded boss and basically the letters are coming out the bottom, when I print this, this is not going to, the bottom of these wheels from this perspective are not going to be sitting flat on the printer bed. So it's going to have to build a ton of supports to lift it off of the printer bed because you extruded your font down. So let's do this. We have our text. Our text is selected. And let's make this an extruded cut. All right, and we can do 0.01. That's fine. We just need a way to be able to see it. 0.01. And that little tiny cut there is going to be sort of like an etch. So I hit that. There it is. Look at that. It's not going through it. And I want you to do the same thing once again over here. Okay. I want to show you something though. If I go into this sketch right here, I'm under the cut. Now I know if I hover over these, by the way, I can see the different parts of my drawing. But I want to take this sketch and I want to edit it. Edit sketch. Let's see if I can hit Control C, Control V. Ugh. Let me see if I can select this. This is something I'm honestly just trying on the fly. Let me select that. So I have my text selected. This is selecting a point. I'm trying to select the text. I wonder if I can do a Control C, Control V right now. It's not letting me. I was trying to save you a step to put this over here. You might have to retype it. If you want to play with it and see if you can duplicate it, but at this point, we're probably spending too much time trying to figure it out rather than just typing it again. So there's, again, 0.01 extruded cut. Grab the text tool again, sketch. We're going to put on this one here, MJH, Michael John Hale. Wonderful. And I'm going to grab this little dot, move it over here. Cool. That works. If you want to make it a little bigger, that's fine too. It's up to you. I'm not looking for anything fancy. I just want a way to identify who it belongs to. And we are going to do a extruded cut again. 0.01. Yep. Green check. And now I have two. I have my wheel and my wheel axle. Okay, those are both done. We're going to save these as STLs. Make sure you're not saving as a SolidWorks part. You might need to scroll down. STL. Put it wherever you want to. Desktop, downloads, wherever you know you can find it. And we need to call this one last name, Hale. I'll just say front. Hale front. And then pick a color. Red, silver, marble, black, whatever's on the board. Look on the board. Make sure you check it on the board. The colors might change. But let's just say it's red. Front red. That works. Save that to the Dropbox. Yep. All right, we're all done here. Upload that to the Dropbox. And then the next step is going to be, we are going to be working on the spiky wheels for the back. So very, very similar, except the nice thing is that you're going to get this file here for the spiky wheel, and you're going to put the shaft for the axle, but we're also going to do a little notch here. Let me show you here, just so you guys can see what we're doing. I'm going to do another video, though, that's going to show you that. So you're going to have this SolidWorks part you're going to download, and you're going to use this drawing here to create the shaft for it, which should be the same, except you notice there's this little tiny notch here, a little tooth. And that's going to be how your rubber band's going to connect to your car to spin it. So we'll get all this stuff figured out here in just a second. And you guys can use this technical drawing to create your back wheel if there's time today.